Hello, it's Marion Stewart, and I wanted to talk about menopause in the workplace today, particularly as I saw a survey published by Latte Lounge in the Daily Telegraph in the UK today. And we are seeing more and more awful surveys that, I should say, statistics in surveys that reveal awful suffering. And it's just alarming to me that women are left to fend for themselves at this life stage. And I think we should be doing more about providing solutions rather than talking about the problems so much. So, for example, in this survey today, which is similar to surveys that have been done before, they found that 42% of the women were contemplating leaving the workplace. And that's horrendous, bearing in mind that women make up half the workforce. And I think it's estimated that about 1 in 6 women of the age of 50 or over are in the workplace, or will be at least by next year. So rather than talking about the stigma around menopause, so for example, women in this survey, 70% of them said that they're too embarrassed to talk about the subject with their boss. So they are fearful and they think of leaving the workplace because they don't actually even know that there's a solution. And in the surveys that we've undertaken, the latest one showed that 96% of the women felt unprepared for menopause. 2/3 of them felt that they'd been robbed of life as they knew it. What is the end result of all this? Well, the end result is that women feel terrible stigma and shame, and that employees are thinking of leaving the workplace. Employers don't have the faintest clue that they're losing so much money. According to Forbes, it's costing $810 billion globally each year because of lost productivity associated with menopause. That works out to over $6,000, over £5,000 a year per woman, not even taking into consideration lost talent. And so surely, instead of really laboring the point about the awfulness of menopause, we should be looking at providing solutions. And we know from our surveys that 90% of women are looking to manage their menopause naturally. My team and I have been helping women to do just that for the last 28 years, and over 90% of them are symptom-free within 5 months. And even on my 6-week course, we are turning women's lives around in a really short space of time. They can see a light at the end of the tunnel. They have hope again that they can feel like the best version of themselves rather than a shadow of their former self, just curled up in a ball, not wanting to go out of the house, certainly not wanting to go to work or entertain having any kind of relationships with anyone in their family or their partner. And that's the saddest thing, because we're living so much longer than ever before. Years ago, 100 years or so ago, we weren't living much past 50. But now, when 40-something represents halfway for so many of us, we need solutions. And if you see the film on my website, marionstewart.com, the 5-minute film with women talking about how they went from feeling like they wanted to leave the workplace or even having left or being demoted, through to being the best version of themselves and being promoted, maybe even to head of department, leading teams of other people in the workplace and feeling really confident and back in their stride. Surely that's what we want for women. We don't want to give them even more stigma. So I'm really concerned about it. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your views. And hopefully we'll be working with more workplaces to enlighten women and men in the workplace. We did a global wellbeing webinar for Cisco a couple of years ago, in fact, probably about 18 months ago. It's hard to tell with the pandemic, it's a bit of a time warp. But the global wellbeing director said that it was the best health initiative they'd undertaken. And there was amazing feedback from men as well, because men are line managers and their partners, and they need to know how to help women in the workplace and better support them. So we're open to discussion. I'd love to hear your views, and I'll undoubtedly be back to talk about this really interesting conundrum in the not too distant future. Thanks very much for listening to me. Bye for now.